Hey you, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Rick Evans. He is co-owner of Evans Brothers Coffee. And when I tell you the story that he shares is just one that you will probably resonate with. You'll know someone or you are that person. True overcomer, true grit and tenacity to succeed. And to see where he came from and where he is today, I'm sure you're going to take something away from it. Today's roast, stop being a quitter. Every time that you try a thing that you know you're supposed to do and it doesn't go your way, you quit. Why is that? Where is the grit? Where's the determination? Where is the stickness, stay in it-tude? Whatever you want to call it, do it. Because I know of a person that came from nothing and is now doing something very instrumental. And it surrounds coffee. So why can't you? Don't quit. Have no money in the bank? Figure a way how to get your bills paid. Be resourceful. You feel like you're at the end of your rope? Okay. There's other people in the same position, but they figured it out. So figure out a plan, figure out your big why, stay on game, and you got this. Well, Rick, thank you so much for this opportunity to sit down and have coffee with me. We are so grateful for you. You were probably the furthest guest that we actually had on our podcast, and you are a big deal in our minds. One, because you are a coffee roaster, and hello, coffee with E, right? So just having someone like yourself on our platform just to add value to our community and just to, give us positive vibes. I can't wait to have a conversation with you. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for wanting to include me.
You're so welcome. Okay, so was doing some quick research on you and your brother and how you all came to where you are today. And we found out that it started on a ski lift.
Yeah, that's right. I can just give you the quick story here if you like.
We need to know the story on the ski lift. That's exactly right. We are dying to know.
Okay. So my brother and I, we had lived all over the country. Our dad was in the Air Force. We moved like every year or 2 years, and we kind of continued moving a lot after we both, finished college. And we were best buddies, but we never lived in the same place at the same time. And
you and your brother were best buddies?
Yeah, we were best friends. We were just 2.5 years apart. I was at a point, I was with my wife at the time, living in Santa Barbara, and I'd been there 5 years. I was working in the resort real estate business, and my brother had gotten into coffee roasting. He was in Seattle at the time, head roaster for Storyville Coffee, and he'd been roasting coffee, managing cafes. Super geeked out on coffee for like a decade.
Who can blame him?
Yeah. And so it was basically for me and my wife, we were like looking for a change. We were ready to plant roots and find a town that we were going to stay. We had just gotten pregnant. And so I didn't want my kids to go through the same thing where they have to move every year to two. We were like, let's find a place with the, really good community where we can plant roots. And then the dream was that Randy could also maybe, move his family there. And my whole family's from the East Coast. In fact, I'll be in Tampa next week visiting my sister. Side note.
Oh, on the East Coast. Okay.
Yeah, we grew up mostly East Coast, but we kind of gravitated out to the West and the mountains, and we're big skiers.
Dirty Dog Hauling, thank you so much for your sponsorship. If you're looking for a junk removal company, they are the go-to company. Whether you have a small job or a large job, and even excavation, you want to check them out. They are reasonable and also timely and effective. Dirty Dog Hauling. Now back to the show.
So my brother was in Seattle, and he said, "Hey, Rick, you should check out Sandpoint, Idaho. It's this cool little town with a huge
Sandpoint, Idaho
ski resort." Yeah, and so this was one of the places we kind of threw into the mix. And long story short, we ended up getting an opportunity to move here. I got a dream job, like managing a real estate office up at the mountain, and this was, of course, a year before the complete meltdown, or, recession and everything. And so I moved here. Randy got opportunity to move here and worked selling coffee roasters like 4 months after I did. And so here we're in this town we love, and everything was great. And then about a year after being here, the economy completely crashed. Real estate, as you probably may remember in '08.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was hit first, especially like the resort market, which is what I was in.
Yeah.
Hey,
I started my business in '08 or '07 is when I started. So just imagine
oh yeah,
your second year. It's like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
it's rough. Yeah, and that's when we started. That's our Evans brothers. Started in '08 basically. So, or was it '09? Anyway, I was real estate was falling apart. I had some rental properties I had to foreclose on, and I moved here
Oh
feeling as wealthy as I'd ever been, and about a year later is like the poorest I've ever been. And,
no.
we did have ski passes, and so basically Randy and I just skied 7 days a week. It was a great winter, and there was a chair called Chair Six. It was like a really long 20-minute chair ride on the backside of the mountain, and we would ride that, and we just started like brainstorming, like, okay, I'm running out of money. What are we going to do? And, how are you? And Randy's like, I said, what do you want to do with your life, Randy? And he said, I just want to stay in coffee, and I'd love to figure out how to make it happen in Sandpoint. So me being kind of more the entrepreneurial, like sales guy, I was like, well, why don't we start a roasting business? I can go get the accounts and do the sales and marketing and help start the business. And you basically do everything else, and, to me at the time, it was just a way to keep my brother here in Sandpoint and really create a business for him. I thought I would continue with real estate once things turned around. And, so we just kind of started envisioning our business, and what, the community aspect of it, the type of coffee. We wanted to really connect people with the coffee and get really, just really high quality, sustainable coffees, and be connected with the farms. And so we just put all of this together, and at night I would be writing the business plan and skiing by day. And we ended up taking this plan to a bank, got to the 11th hour, got turned down. We didn't have any money for collateral. So we finally got a loan using $10,000 from my grandpa, from our grandfather, and putting our dad's cars as collateral. Because by this time I had cashed out everything I had. I was living for, I think it was about 16 to 18 months, without a single paycheck. And
That's what I was going to ask you, because you said that you had to foreclose on your rental properties,
Yeah,
and here you are skiing
true.
in that 20-minute ride. Like,
Yeah.
how are you paying bills? That's what I was thinking. So I know people that are watching and are listening are like, okay, so how did he pay his bills from the time that he was on that ski lift
Yeah.
till you actually got the loan from your grandfather, your dad, right, and your grandfather?
Yeah.
And like, how'd you make ends meet? Had to take 2 seconds to thank Allstate Insurance for sponsoring this episode. If you're looking for car, life, or casualty insurance, they're going to be your ultimate insurance company. Thank you, Rob Shaw with Allstate Insurance. Now, back to the show.
I mean, pretty much lived off of drained my retirement savings and everything else we had. The money went quick because I was a bit leveraged, and I was definitely leveraged in real estate. I owned a condo in Santa Barbara. The renters moved out. We couldn't re-rent it. It was just like that happened in each place. And so, yeah, I was, living maybe like used to spending money and kind of kept doing it. Never realized it was going to be a year and a half without an income, until looking back, like, wow, I didn't get a single check in a year and a half. No wonder.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like,
Rick, you even said you had a baby on the way too.
yeah,
So I'm just like, I know I'm stuck on this, but this is just blowing my mind.
it was a scary time,
Like,
honestly.
how did you stay like motivated? Like, when
Yeah,
you are like, okay, I'm just going to say what it is. When you're in debt, don't
yeah,
know where you're going to get your next paycheck or how you're going to feed your family.
yeah.
What in the world like kept you motivated and in your right mind and not to do something that was just going to be hasty? Like, because
Yeah.
it sounded like you were disciplined enough to stay on that track. So what was it? Like, what was
Yeah.
the big thing that
Well,
get
and
you
I
together?
kept trying in real estate, so I skied, but I'd also, if I had people that wanted to see properties, and I did keep trying, and I think
Okay.
the motivation got less and less after every single deal fell apart. We have people in contract, and it just, you remember how it was back then, and so and then it was just like, okay, what are we going to build from here? And it was, I started going to a men's group at that time to take care of myself personally.
Oh,
Not
good.
not long after this, we ended up like, marriage was not doing great. It was a really hard time in my life. Went through a divorce within, a couple years of moving here, maybe a few years. So my kids at that point were, I guess they were like 4 and 2, and so that first kind of like we started the business right around the time my son was born. And yeah, I was like, we didn't have much of anything to take out of the business in terms of income. It was a rough few years for sure. A lot of times where it was just like, is this going to work? But
Yeah.
we did get encouraged, like with the business from pretty early on. We had like, the community really received us well. And, we started doing the farmers market. We would have these big neighborhood tastings and invite everybody into the roastery and just taste all these different coffees. And we were doing coffee in a way that people weren't accustomed to. Like it was pretty much all dark roast. And so we were doing some lighter roast coffees as well. And like really unique coffees, like we called micro lots, that were like from a special part of the farm. And we would provide all this information, and we do these like kind of educational things. And so really just started engaging people really well. And we were able to get some good local accounts right away, and enough to where it was like, okay, this is something, something's going on here. We're not really bringing
Yeah.
the paycheck in, but there was like, it was really cool. Like just the beginnings of being able to build something. So it was kind of like, yeah, I mean, a huge lesson of like, when things look the worst, I mean, what can kind of come out of that, in life. I mean, I feel like now we've got this beautiful life, and yeah, I probably was making more money way back for a bit in real estate and everything, but so much happier now and more fulfilled life. And we've got this business
Yeah.
that's really community based, and we're able to do a lot of cool things with it and connect with a lot of people. And it's just like family business. So and yeah, it's great. It's really cool to be able to do something with my brother like this.
That is awesome. So you started out as a stand, correct? And you said you were,
No,
go
not a
ahead.
stand. We had the roastery itself. So that was the
Okay.
first thing we got. And it's this old granary, like warehouse, this historic area that was kind of run down. And it was a really sweet thing to find. And it was, at the time it was like there wasn't even drywall on it and all this stuff. So we had to do a bunch of work, built out this roastery in this warehouse. And the idea at first was just a roaster, not a cafe. We were just going to roast for wholesale for restaurants, cafes, and stuff. Um, but people would start coming into the roastery and they'd want to try our coffee. So we had like a little home espresso machine. My brother would stop roasting to make somebody a coffee. And, we had a little brew bar for pour overs. And so we would
Yeah.
just make coffee, visit with people one at a time. And eventually, maybe year to two into it, we're like, we had a friend who had been a barista, and he was like, you guys should do a little coffee bar. And so we built out of a broom closet. It was a high ceiling broom closet, but it was all kind of closed off. It had garage doors that opened up, but we were like, let's do a little neighborhood espresso bar. It was like a walk up coffee bar adjacent to the roastery, and our friend would work it as a barista. And we might make like $80 in a day, and we'd give him 40. And but
Oh,
it was
that's
a way to
hilarious.
like start showing our coffees really
Yeah.
organically to the customers. And yeah, that was the start of our cafe, which
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty wild. It was just this broom closet. When we opened the doors, the garage doors open up, and it's really nice and light. But then when we closed those, there was no windows. It was just like this, like,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
You
So
did better in the spring and summer. Like people are like, yeah, let's go. And in the wintertime, it's like, yeah, not so
yeah.
much. I had to take 2 seconds to interrupt this episode. I would like to thank one of our most recent guests, attorney Jenny Chavis, for sponsoring this show. Chavis Law Firm is an elite law firm in central Pennsylvania that helps with estate planning as well as understanding what type of business entity you should enter into when starting your business. If you're looking for a great attorney that understands estate planning as well as business entity, how to start the right way, you want to check out attorney Chavis Law Firm. Now, back to the show.
Since then, we've opened up. We put windows on both sides, and we've opened up. We put windows on the garage doors, so there's a lot of
I
light.
love it.
We've expanded,
Oh,
and
wait, you still have that same location?
we're in the same location where we started.
I
Yeah,
love it.
and it
I love it.
the bar was all using like corrugated metal and like leftover barn wood and just all the scrap material from the old
Yeah.
winery. And it still kind of has that look, but it's a lot more intentional now. Because we first started and so we have our roastery and then the little neighborhood bar that used to be the bar that used to be the broom closet. And then the other side of that was this other big open space. At the time, it was a photographer, also really rough space, not really finished that well. At a certain point in time, we're like, hey, can we put like a couch in here for some people to sit on, a couple of chairs? There was like a used clothing thing going on in the same space. It was just this like hodgepodge, like really like, just kind of I don't know the word, but it was a pretty rough. And we shared space with him. I mean, it was like a green couch, grandma's couch from the thrift store kind of thing. It was there was no like but our coffee was really good and it kept bringing people back despite the fact it was just like, what is this? Like, and eventually we got more intentional. We took over the entire space. We were able to, the bar is still pretty small, but we've got a good sized cafe, really great outside seating. The roastery's on the other side so customers can see it. And yeah, it's the same place we have. It's 17 years later. And we've, grown to where the coffee house itself has been. I mean, last year we were top 3 in USA Today, best independent
I
house.
saw that. Yes.
So that's pretty cool to look back on where it started. And then we learned, we ended up hiring a couple, one guy in particular had incredible experience. And, we ended up just bringing on really great people and have built a really cool business.
So what do you think attributed to you getting that big stellar award? That's a big deal.
Yeah, we've always held ourselves to a really high standard, and like from the beginning, we've never to this day felt like, oh, we figured it all out and we've got it all down. Adjust myself out of the sun a little bit here. Anyway, I'm really dark right now, aren't I? I can't even see.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. We have great editors. You're going to look
perfect. Okay, good.
stellar. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a great seat sometimes. It kind of depends on the time of day, though. Anyway, sorry, what was the question?
No, so what do you attribute to you becoming like number 3 in USA Today? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well, so Daniel Gunter is kind of like the third brother. He joined us 15 years ago. He had been really involved in there's a famous cafe called Barista. There's a few locations and out of Portland, and he worked there and some other really well-known specialty coffee shops in Portland. I remember he's from here, grew up here, and his dad was a customer early on and said, you should meet my son, and so Daniel came to visit, and he was like, he kind of wanted to move back and to Sandpoint. And we hadn't hired anybody. It was just Randy and I trying to do everything at the time. And, but we saw this guy, we saw pictures of his latte art. He was like kind of a big deal barista, And so we figured out a way to just bring him onto the team. And, now he's our head of coffee quality. He does our training. He's just, really is like another brother. And so he was a big part of helping us kind of elevate, that whole experience. And then we would hire really good quality baristas that, we're a town it's a tourist town. So there's a lot of people that have moved away and maybe come back. And so we've been able to get people with a lot of experience. And then we incorporated just a really great internal training program. We'll often hire people that haven't been a barista, but really have the people skills. And we have a really comprehensive training, and we buy the best coffees you can get. We travel to Origin to get the coffees. We always are focused on like creating exceptional customer experiences. That's what we're all about. And so we just keep looking at how can we do this better? How can we do this better? And so with the voting with the USA Today, it was kind of an anonymous thing where they pick out what they think are the, best cafes in the country, the USA Today team. And then there's a whole voting thing where your customers vote. And so, I mean, we definitely got on board with that and really tried to, get the vote out and everything. And at one point we were first in the whole competition, and then kind of like we ended up taking third, but it was, just to be top 10 reader's choice. It was pretty cool. And yeah, we've also had an award. We won a thing in like a coffee fest competition where you had to do a mock cafe on the conference floor, and we're competing against like shops that we had looked up to for years, and that, you know, kind of the best of the best. And we ended up in third place in that one too. First would be better, but third's good too. For little old
I
Sam.
love the competitiveness. So
Yeah.
just to put it on perspective, like how many out of how many coffee shops would you
Um,
say?
well, I mean, I guess that started in the competition for the voting. I think they narrowed down to like 100 or something like that, and we ended up taking third in that competition. Yeah.
Hey, I'm hoping you're enjoying this episode of Coffee with E. I had to take 30 seconds to share with you one of our sponsors for this episode, Top Construction. They are a premier construction company located in Central PA. So if you live in Dauphin, Cumberland, Lancaster, and Lebanon counties, you want to check them out. Not only are they reliable, they are reasonable, and they get the job done. Now, let's go back to the episode.
But
That's pretty good.
yeah,
Pretty
if
good.
it was a
So look,
month,
I think what I'm most I guess in all of is the fact that you went from, in 2008 and everything, just losing everything, and then to being where you are today,
yeah,
and being resilient enough and resourceful enough to find the funds in order to fund the business or the dream that you and your brother had.
yeah,
And I love to hear a great like a story of being able to overcome your obstacles, and just to breathe life into that.
yeah.
So when you were going through that, I mean, did you think that you were going to be where you are today? Like, how did you feel throughout that? Because I know there's some people that may feel like they're losing hope. They have
Yeah.
this business, they have this dream, but they may not have the resources or the funding or
Mhm.
the family to help them. So how did you feel? And like, what would you say to that person that wants to do something like what you're doing?
Great question. Well, I'll say even like early on when we were brainstorming the business and I was talking to Randy about it, he's like, "Well, how are we going to do this? We have no money." And I'm like, "One step at a time. We're going to write a business plan, and then we're going to, we can go to friends, family. We'll just take it a step at a time." And yeah, I think, and then after we got started, I mean, gosh, it was tough. Randy and I fought a lot. We realized like we were best friends. We never tried to
I
work
hope not. Did you fist fight a little bit?
We came
Brother?
really close, like yelling at the top of our lungs, slamming doors, running out. I hate you. F all. I mean, the whole like it was like we were little kids, just like
I love it.
yeah. Both of us, have had tempers and we just triggered each other, and so there were those times like, oh my gosh, why am I even in business with this guy? And it felt like, but we were all in. Like, what else are we going to
Yeah.
do here? We put all our eggs in this basket, and we can't fail, and so I think it was the growth of the business went along with the growth of ourselves. I really,
That's
I
great.
really had to look into myself and find that belief of like, because there were times where I felt like part of me wanted to just give up. Period. I was like on everything, and it was a low time in my life. I mean, going through a divorce, it felt like a failure. Had lost all my money, felt like a failure there. But I had this little boy, and like he's like I never loved more than anything more. And it's like a lot of times I found the belief in myself out of the love I had for my son at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna find that little kernel of light that is, that trusts and knows it's gonna be okay. And to be able to just really dig into that and find that self-belief. I think it's there in everybody. And it's like there's these choices of like, okay, I can quit, or I can find that grit and that determination that's in there. And so I learned a lot about who I am. I just built this resilience through having to go through that and starting over. And, now I look back, it's like it made me who I am today. I wouldn't change any of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think
Yeah.
just believing and knowing, being willing to just not to give up. Because sometimes it's like right before it looks like just when everything looks like it's going to fail, it might be the time, right? Just before it breaks out for you.
Yeah. It's almost like a test, right?
Yeah.
And and it's 3 feet from gold
Yeah.
kind of scenario. Like you're just right there, and you have an opportunity you can quit. That's the easy road. Or
Yeah.
you can just keep digging,
Yeah.
right? And to the person that decided to keep digging, that's when you get to live the life that you truly want to live. So yeah, kudos for you for finding something outside of yourself
Thank you.
to hang on to. Yeah, because
Thanks.
that's what it takes sometimes. Because when you're just thinking about, okay, I'm doing this for me, that might not be enough.
Yeah.
That just might not be enough. But if you have something else or someone else
Yeah.
that you are accountable to,
Yeah.
yeah, that's when you could dig down in there. So
Yeah.
yeah, love this story. I love the story. I do. Yeah, because I remember back in 2008, holy moly, because I left my corporate job and went into real estate at the worst
Right.
time.
You'd see all these people making all this money and doing great, and then it started, and then everything changes. Yeah.
Everything changes. So then you have to figure, okay, so what am I doing now? Yeah, you go from making all this money to, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
is this really a thing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
your
awesome that
story is so
you
great.
stuck with it, having started at that time, that's for sure.
Yeah, sometimes I think, am I crazy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
No, it's really is a calling. I do. I think it's a calling. Otherwise, I don't think, well, I know the people that decided to stay, I know that's something that they truly were passionate about. Other people that left, I get it. It wasn't what they were passionate about. They
Yeah.
were in it for the money, that quick money.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's a lot of that at that point in time because real estate it was easy in '05. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is so great. So then, is there any last words that you want to share with our audience? Because I think that you gave some valuable lessons in there. The one is having fortitude to just keep going. Like
Yeah.
that's the message I got through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then to see how big you are, like you're nationally known. Like that's huge.
Yeah, it's it's
Huge.
it's really cool. I mean, we've won what's called this for the coffee itself. This is more on the roasting side. We've won the Good Food Awards 4 times, and that's arguably the biggest award in coffee. It's a big foodie award. They have chocolate and charcuterie and other categories, and I mean, just to be like in the mix with the companies that are kind of the best of the best, and it makes us feel really proud. And it's cool from a little small town too of Sandpoint. When people come here, they don't really expect to have really good coffee and stuff. So that was pretty neat, pretty neat too.
Hey, I need to take 2 seconds to interrupt this wonderful show that you're watching. I run a real estate business, and the way we fund this podcast is through that business, the Erica Ross team. I would love it if you would just give us one opportunity to service your real estate needs, whether you are in Central PA or around the entire world. Think of us first so we can help you. Now back to the show.
But as far as other advice, yeah, I think one of the things we also did was trying to, knowing what knowing what we each individually do best, and we've tried to get help for other areas, and not try to, I mean, early on, it was just the two of us. We kind of had to figure out how to do pretty much everything. We did hire a bookkeeper, was a smart move right off the bat. But yeah, just really trying to put people into the right positions. And for my brother and I, we have, kind of opposite skill sets. So really trying to focus on, what we each do best and everything, and not being afraid to go out for outside help. I mean, we worked with like a small business development center coach from early on, and he would really help us with the financial side of things.
And they're free. Are they free in your
They're free,
area?
yeah. There's small business SBDC.
No one knows about. I don't think enough people know about it. They are free.
Awesome resource, really great resource. Yeah, we had a guy we met with like every couple weeks or something, and for years. And so yeah, using those resources, asking, going out to people that we talked to other people in the industry, and we tried to learn from those that that we admired and everything that were in the business.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love your grit. This was such a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. Truly enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you. Hey, you all may not know this, but he actually sponsored this episode as well as other episodes that we have for this month. So cannot thank you enough. Cannot thank you enough. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you're going to be seeing all of your stuff. We're going to be advertising this coffee brand. And do you deliver across the U.S.? Like, how do people in PA?
Yeah, evansbrotherscoffee.com. We ship across the U.S. We have a subscription program too, where you can say, hey, I like bright and fruity, classic and comfort, or dark and rich coffees, and then I want one or two or whatever, a month, and ship it to your doorstep. So
Okay, Rick, so this is what I want to do. I don't know, I'm putting you on the spot. I would love to get those different flavors, even if it's like a small bit. I would love to taste test because I'm a
okay,
coffee connoisseur. And
yeah,
then I can let our audience know which one they should actually, which ones I liked,
cool.
and then we'll just go from there. I love that.
Okay, yeah,
Deal?
happy to send you a sample pack of stuff. Then that sounds good.
Yay, 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 yay. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us. Like I said, you're probably the furthest guest that we had so
Yeah.
far, and I really appreciated it. I really do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you and your brother for sticking it out and just where you are today. And I know that you're just going to get better and better.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.